Hello, my name is Hercules, and this is my Viva for Fin 331. My case examined how digital transformation affected risk and capital adequacy across UAE domestic banks, including First Abu Dhabi Bank, Emirates NBD, and Dubai Islamic Bank, with combined risk-weighted assets of around 1.5 trillion. Um, so my report had four main risk categories which it underwent, which was first is market risk, which was driven by the volatility as Bitcoin's volatility exceeded 25% and reached 47% as per 2020 to 2025, which is relatively significant and meaning it cannot be utilized as money. This generated risk-weighted assets under the Basel market risk standard approach, with uh, First Abu Dhabi Bank carrying the largest exposure due to its global market. So moving on to credit risk, it was captured through stablecoins, risk-weighted asset treatment. It included Tether, which is USDT, which attracted 1,250% risk-weighted asset charges, and uh, under the Bank of International Settlements in December 2023, the crypto asset standard, due to reserve opacity and non-compliance with the markets and crypto asset regulations and the guiding and establishment of National Innovation for US Stablecoins Act, while the digital dirham carries 0% risk-weighted assets as it is a central bank liability. Moving to sovereign risk was basically analyzed through the sanction events and money laundering events that I included into my uh, uh, analysis. Uh, for this, I confirmed that the a very high statistical significance with all the events present, especially on the event relating to the UAE, which was referred to as the Financial Action Task Force grey listing of the UAE. Um, the I also noticed as my main analysis that the cumulative annual returns was 120 days before was already significant and it was at a negative level, meaning that people probably predicted this kind of money laundering scam. Um, and one more risk that I have to include is off-balance sheet risk, which emerged from central banks' digital currency. Um, if retail deposits migrate to digital dirham wallets, outflow rate rises, and both the liquidity coverage ratio and net stable funding ratio are pressured. FAB is the most exposed to this due to its net stable funding ratio being around 104.54%, which is the tightest buffer of the three. Moving on to the regulation and guidelines, the regulation shapes every question in the report. Which the regulation I utilized was obviously the Basel regulation, including operational risk, credit risk, and market risk, and it involved a standardized approach and govern how digital assets consume capital. I applied all three. The Bank for International Settlements of 2023 final standard showcased that in Group 1B for classification of USD coins, it USD basically CBDCs, again Tether reached 1,250% RWA, which is massive. At the UE level, the Virtual Asset Regulatory Authority, also known as VAR, is the world's first standalone virtual asset regulator. It mandates travel rule compliance, virtual asset service provider licensing, anti-money laundering safeties, and counters financing through terrorism, and client asset segregation. All three banks exceeded the central bank's UAE minimum capital threshold, uh, which is a good thing for people who are already in these kind of banks. Regarding the interest rate model, the interest rate risk is addressed through my liquidity ratios, and the liquidity coverage ratio measures 30 days resilience against the sensitive outflow rate. ENBD leads this at 201%. First Abu Dhabi stands behind that, and digital dirham is classified as a level 1 high liquid asset. Um, directly strengthening liquidity coverage ratio, the numerator, and making it capital efficient from an interest rate sensitivity perspective. Any shift in rates that reprices the high quality liquid asset buffer follows immediately into liquidity coverage ratio calculations, which I included for all three banks. These calculations were already done by the Pillar 3 reports given in 2024. Um, so for moving to liability and liquidity management, I think question four best summarizes that as like uh, every digital innovation to the six Basel ratios. Um, it also refers to the first question, which is my digital innovation, which was Hare's Bank, which anchors stable retail deposits across generations. And basically, it allows you to simplify the transferring of inheritance over time. Also, the crypto asset, however, did the opposite. It converted stable deposits into volatile outflows, comprising in the liquidity coverage ratio in the first Abu Dhabi Bank, which made it the most vulnerable. And the digital dirham improves short-term liquidity as high liquid assets, but structural net stable funding ratio deteriorated through the deposit migration. And finally, for all four questions, demonstrate structural digital transformation. The Harris Bank digitized itself by digitizing the function of succession planning using open bank application programming interface or APIs, artificial intelligence, and other huge sectors to simplify this already underdeveloped and not used the digital platform, a digital finance platform. And this is also very useful due to the great generational transfer, which is about to be like 124 trillion, based on an article that I read. So this would be very helpful for banks to get profits and for people who will be going through the process of inheritance to actively receive their worth inheritance. The worth then the VAR regulatory technology also replaces, like obviously like I said before, the anti-laundering sampling with almost 100%. I think almost 100% like transactions being automated, and the digital dirham is tested to the central bank bridge platforms. That's why it's the reason that it is at a 0.0% RWA. And I think to finish this off, I can include Emirates NBD's obviously LiveX platform, which allows for cryptocurrency trading, and it's also licensed under the VAR framework as well. And this is my